This is Lydia from the Milndavie Pottery in Strathblane, Scotland, and this video is about our clay at home scheme. Now, if you have hired our basic kit, you will have received a wet box. And then, to be honest, storing the clay is really simple because you just need to keep it in the box all the time that you're not using it, and that will stop it from drying out. If you don't have a wet box, before we discovered this wonderful system, we used just a normal Tupperware, you know, the kind of lock and lock that seals carefully. So we used to put this in the bottom, and underneath it we would put wet cotton wool. When you take the cling film off your ball of clay, bits of clay are stuck to the cling film. A tiny layer of clay, but that begins to dry instantly. So that if you put the same piece of cling film back onto your ball of clay, you are covering your ball of lovely clay with a layer of dried clay dust, which really spoils what you're making. Don't roll on your kitchen table because the clay will just stick. Roll on some fabric. The fabric stops the clay from sticking. Before we had these boards, we used to just use bits of pillowcase or sheeting, and that will work fine. The only thing is you need to make sure that you're using a fabric that isn't fluffy. You don't want fibres as you're rolling to be left in the clay. While this is drying, the two pieces will separate. So you need to use a method called score and slip. You need to score where you want the thing to be stuck, and you want to score on the back of the thing that you're going to stick. Then you're going to add something called slip. Now, slip is just wet clay. So where I've got the water on the brush here, can you see that the clay is turning a slightly lighter colour? The lighter colour, that is slip. So what you need to do is put slip onto both pieces, the bit you're sticking onto and the bit that you're sticking. Then all you do is stick that down on top and give it a decent squish. Now, what if you don't have a paper plate? What you need to do is put a piece of paper towel under the clay before you put it in the bowl. Otherwise, your clay is just going to stick in the bowl. If you haven't got a paper plate, or say you've got a dish at home that you really love the shape of and you would like to replicate it, this will work. I'm going to look at it after 3 hours and probably keep it in the bowl for 6 hours. You need to take it out of the bowl as soon as the clay is dry enough to hold its own shape. So here's everything that I made today, and that used up about half of the clay that comes in your clay at home kit. We all know how fragile dry clay is, and once it's bone dry, it's really easily broken. But nevertheless, you may want to do a tiny bit of tidying so that your finished pottery will look fantastic. There's a safety precaution, which is that the dust that is created by doing that has a lot of silica in it, and silica is really bad for your lungs. with every bit of sanding, you're running the risk of breaking your beautiful pottery. So be careful. I'm going to give it another week drying to be absolutely certain, and then that will go in the kiln for its first firing. You can also buy glaze from us, which includes the price of firing. And I'm going to use this high fire glaze called Ancient Jasper. So there we are, 3 coats painted. Here are the 2 saucers that I made. Obviously you don't have to go on and glaze them if you don't want to buy the glaze, but I'm very pleased with how they've turned out. I've chosen this celadon from the High Fire range, which is called Sky. Really hope you can see that on the video because I think it's really beautiful.